Obviously, it has been this kind of weird thrum in the background of the campaign. There hasn't been anything explosive in it, but every day there's some new set of. Because we're all natural voyeurs, there's nothing more fun than reading other people's mail. They have gotten a lot of attention. Here's what Marco Rubio had to say about it. Take a listen.
I personally will not be talking about any revelations that come about solely as a result of WikiLeaks. Our intelligence officials, who are not partisan people, have told us this is the work of a foreign intelligence agency. And we cannot be a country where foreign intelligence agencies can interfere or influence our political process. What I would say to my Republican colleagues, some of whom may be disappointed by the position I've taken, is today it's them, tomorrow it could be us. I think there's plenty of material in which to line up and take on Secretary Clinton. I think this one is an invitation for chaos and havoc in the future.
What do you think, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I happen to agree. Don't talk about the sourcing of information, but I do think there are some things that need to be questioned, and that comes from the debate and comes from the media, but it also comes on turning this about, making it about Hillary Clinton, right?
Well, what about Hillary? I mean, so. But
again, you look at, we have Dorothy Woods, the wife of Ty Woods, as part of our group, and what happened in Benghazi. I know it's been examined, but there are some tidbits in there that actually help and lead to some things, and that needs to be changed to the public.
You think the issue? You think ultimately he needs to pivot away from saying the women accusing him are too ugly to grope towards Benghazi?
I think he should pivot to basically 5 core issues, because he's with the American people on all of those issues. And I think if he drives that and makes it more about what are her positions, you kept saying, oh, she's going to talk about this, she's going to talk about that, but she hasn't had to lay out an immigration plan. She hasn't had to lay out what she's going to do on health care. Is she going to just maintain the status quo?
She did talk about it last time.
Well, no, she said that she didn't. Donald Trump had to defend and be more substance than she did. So I think if we can make it more about what she is going to offer to the American people, they may be disappointed. That's what Donald Trump should do.
Chris, though, on this WikiLeaks issue, because what Marco Rubio said is absolutely right, and appreciate what you said about it, because Donald Trump has had the same briefings, right? He has been told that the Russians have hacked in, and he's got to, and I would wonder if she's going to put him on the spot tonight and say, will you acknowledge that our intelligence agencies have briefed you that the Russians have hacked in? And didn't this happen after you exhorted them to hack in to email?
Yeah, we think the hack happened before he exhorted.
Well, right. But the bottom line is you can trace this whole line of Donald Trump's relationships to Russia and then ask the question, why is it that Vladimir Putin so wants you to be president?
Well, but here's part of the issue to me, Matt, with sort of turning this idea that like you're going to make it about Hillary, right? This referendum on Hillary, right? Yeah. It seems to me at this point, 20 days before the election, it's all priced into the stock. Like, yes, she has not great numbers in trustworthiness, for instance, right? There are all sorts of polling that shows that people associate her with the sort of being an insider, all this stuff. But that's priced in. I mean, like, I don't think there's anything that you're going to say to 55 million people tonight and think, oh, you know what? I hadn't thought about that, but Hillary Clinton sure is an insider.
If you remember back to the 3 weeks before the first debate, those were probably the best 3 weeks Trump's had since the general election started. It's because Hillary was on defense. The Labor Day FBI notes came out. She was on defense over the health questions, things like that. The focus was on her. It got away from Trump.
She was on defense. Let's just be clear. She was on defense for having pneumonia.
Well, and transparency issues related to her health, but fine. Sure. My point is, look, going forward, I agree I agree with what Rubio said. I think it was very important for him to say it, and he's in a unique position to be able to say it.
That's interesting. You agree?
I do. Yeah. I do. And honestly, and the point he made is, they can go after Democrats now, but it may be going after Republicans next. Russia should be a bipartisan issue. It should not be a partisan issue. That said, the FBI information that came out about the potential quid pro quo has nothing to do with WikiLeaks, and that's important question.
The FBI investigation, which the notes of which have been released, right? And it was in the notes that one agent accused Patrick Kennedy, the Undersecretary of State, of proposing a, quote, quid pro quo. That's been denied by the FBI and the State Department, although I'm sure there'll be questions about it tonight. Yeah. Also, Hillary Clinton was gone by that point, right? So this is sort of a retroactive conversation happening.
And the voters' eyes are glazing over.
Well, that's right. That's a
How much time are you going to waste on
saying that? Right, okay? So, I got bored saying that. So that's also the other issue to me, and it relates to this question, right, of there's a certain degree of the kind of like Breitbart bubble, we call it, right? This world, and we saw it in the first Clinton administration, the airstrip in Arkansas the governor was running drugs out of, et cetera, et cetera. You can't get 45, 46% of the electorate with that, right? You got to give them something between 38, his floor, and 46. Those 8% got to hear something.
But see, I would argue at this point, and I know I'm going to be an outlier here, but I've been one a lot in my life. I'm going to argue here that when you look at what Trump's doing right now, because it doesn't make any straight campaign sense, he's not trying to win November, he's trying to win post-November.
Yes.
I think there's something where he is going to try to take a piece of your party along with him post-November. I really think you're doubling down on the hatred of, doubling down on the birtherism, doubling down on all this nasty, vile stuff. That helps him post-November.
He takes 30 million people with him to create some sort of nationalist party and media network around that, and that's what he's going to do.
And we'll do a general wager on this.
I think you're comparing the Tea Party movement, or the ceiling is, these conspiracy theories. It's not. It's these anti-government. He tried to do that in the first debate. For the first 30 minutes, he was pretty successful in trying to pin her as the establishment government candidate's been doing 30 years and has done nothing. If he wants to run as a change agent and make it a referendum on her that she can't be a change agent because she's been part of a broken system for 30 years, he should continue to do that. Well, and I think that ceiling of anti-government or we don't trust government is a lot higher than we think.
Well, here's what's fascinating, though. In many ways, right, Donald Trump has part of what allowed him to win that primary was sloughing off a lot of the kind of orthodoxy around anti-government, right? I mean, a 45% tariff isn't anti-government. In fact, that's a very muscular intervention in trade by the government. He was sort of saying that was. He also, one of the things tonight Chris Wallace wants to talk about is debt and entitlements, or as I call them, social insurance. Donald Trump has been very clear he doesn't want them cut, right? So in a lot of ways, what Trump has represented, I think, to his credit in terms of where he was able to find where the Republican voter was, is that they weren't that into the whole anti-government orthodoxy. They've been fed from folks like Paul Ryan.
Or the deficit. I mean, if you look at his plans on the deficit, $13 trillion worth of deficit.
Yeah, but I mean, he was more libertarian on war, at least in talking in the primary debates. And
That's
saying,
true.
We're not going to waste $3 billion. We're going to reform a broken system. He even railed against super PACs, right, in terms of the political process. So I mean, he had a message out there that weren't necessarily just for outliers, but I think really for people that say, look, I'm tired of this system and I want to try something new. And he represented that.
A lot of the message also was about immigrants and other folks who don't look like you taking your jobs. I will say, though, that was a better message than I would never have groped that woman because she's not attractive enough. Pat McGoviak, Cornell Belcher, Eric Beach, and Jennifer Granholm. Thanks for your time.
Thanks so much.
We are live from the University of Nevada in Las Vegas leading up to the presidential debate. Our coverage continues right after this.